newspaper, The Standard. Get yourself a copy of The Standard this morning. The Standard e-paper also available to you, so that if you can't get the paper, you can walk around with the news in your pocket. Bitok's passport heat is what's on the front page of The Standard today. We know that he is PS Basic Education now. He was in this other area. Despite mounting allegations over the irregular issuance of Kenyan passports and identity documents to foreign nationals, former Immigration PS Julius Bitok and Director General of Immigration Evelyn Cheluget have remained silent. Mum's the word. The latest claims gained fresh attention after documents shared publicly by former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua pointed to a system that bypassed standard safeguards and fast-tracked approvals through senior immigration channels. Insider accounts and tracking records suggest a process that raised serious security concerns during Bitok's tenure. The lingering silence now leaves one central question hanging. When will Kenyans get clear answers on what really happened? You can't just rock up to Nyayo House and get a Kenyan passport. Believe me, I know.
As a Kenyan.
Even as a Kenyan.
But for some foreigners,
it seems that you can.
It's that fast.
Yes.
Efficient for those departments.
You know why people are put in positions? Not just so they can do a job, or not just so that they can draw a salary, but that they can be held accountable. Now, if people who are not Kenyans and then they have some dubious activities attached to their names are getting Kenyan passports, one has to ask, who oversaw the process for this to happen?
And what is the motive?
And why would you do that? Yes, why would you do that? It sounds like a very simplistic question, but it's one that ought to be asked. And nature abhors a vacuum. So when you don't give an adequate explanation, guess what? The court of public opinion will fill that vacuum with speculation and innuendo.
And eventually their own verdict.
Exactly. So, if you are silent, does it mean you are complicit? If you are silent, is it just as good as saying, yes, I did. I oversaw and approved the process of giving a would-be warlord, alleged warlord, a Kenyan passport. Yes, I did.
He's been sanctioned internationally.
Yes, Buana. If you're quiet, silence implies
consent.
Thanks.
And remember that when Rigathi Gachagua was serving as deputy president, he says, and of course he's been on, we saw it, it's actually on video. He was welcoming the Hemeti,
yes,
from Sudan. And he says he was sent by his then boss, President William Ruto. And to that extent, he has actually also made public those documents. And you see, when the crocodile comes out of the water and tells you that the hippo is unwell, you have no reason not to believe.
Not to believe the crocodile.
And so that question will still linger during President William Ruto's administration, be it beyond 2032, whatever length of time he stays in office. That question will forever linger, because he swore to protect Kenya's territorial boundaries.
Yes, he did, didn't he? Okay, well, we're going to look into that story because it's still a big deal. Somebody has got to answer. It has been months down the line that you can actually go and get Kenya's sovereign document and you're not a Kenyan without going through the proper channels, without doing the due diligence. Because you know what? If somebody actually did the due diligence to get somebody a Kenyan passport, what would be so wrong with you coming out to say, actually, you know what, guys? Take the speculation and toss it in the rubbish bin. This is how it happened. They went through and they jumped through all the right hoops. We crossed all the correct T's and we dotted all the I's. We got all our ducks in a row, but that you are silent. Gosh, it just means
explanation.
Yeah, man, just an explanation. Somebody needs to answer. We do not understand, or maybe we do, but we're not really applying as much importance to this thing as we should. Kenya's document of nationality gives you the sovereign pass around the world, depending on who's going to give you entry or not. But still, it is the thing that identifies you as a Kenyan. Now, you can just go and give to anybody, like you're handing out hot dogs at the state fair. No, come on.
And remember, this is not an isolated case, because we've had a governor for Trans Nzoia, George Natembeya. This is actually somebody, he's a bit different from the other governors by virtue of his former assignment.
Yes.
Remember that he's actually just from the security docket. He's been an administrator for 27 years.
Yeah.
He served as a DO. He rose to the ranks of a regional commissioner. Very powerful. These are people who consume intelligence. And he's actually been on record saying that we are giving national identification cards to foreigners. It could be for simple reasons like maybe voting. They claim it's for voting.
That's not a simple reason, though, Ochanda.
Okay, as simplistic as it may sound, but you see, eventually he says it's a security threat. Because once I wave this identity card, all the security operators will actually leave me to walk around freely, yet I might be planning something against this country.
It's
eventually.
True. It's true. It is true. We'll come back to this in just a minute. Let's look at some other stories that are making headlines. And I'm going to come out on a limb with my spirituality and say, guys, we need to pray. If it does, pray to the divine being that you pray to. But what is going on is there's something wrong. The stories that we see about defilement of children, left, right, and center. There's another one who was killed, and I don't know done what to. And then you come to hear that how students plan arson in 12 schools on social media. Use social media to plan how they're going to burn down the school. What is wrong? In this case, we're not talking about the delivery of knowledge through the channel of education. We're talking about that something is wrong, that children have seen the best way to deal with that matter is to burn down the school.
Burn down schools. I remember when we were in schools, burning the thought of burning a school, not just a school, anything within the school compound, it was like a life condemnation. And so a permanent condemnation. You could not even conceive that thought because the punishment was dire. The condemnation was permanent. And so if you can plan on social media, because of course when you're planning on social media, it means that this communication is not foolproof. It's actually like spilling to everybody. You are not even worried. And you see, if you're planning on social media to carry out arson in schools, what will you do when you're actually out here, when you're a free human, when you can do anything?
If the solution to a problem is destruction, and please get me right here, I do believe that with these kids in school, with these children, because they are children in high schools. They are children. I do believe that there is a problem. There is a genuine concern that they have. Either it is not being addressed, or it's not being addressed to their satisfaction, but there's something wrong. My problem is, how have we degraded as a society to the point where children then now say, because this problem has not been sorted out, the best avenue to take is the route of destruction? That for me is the issue. And as somebody will tell me, they've been burning schools down since 1984. It's okay. Still, whether it was 1984, 1994, or 2004, or 2024, it still is a problem. It's a point of concern that the route to take is this one, where we burn the thing down to the ground, and then we have 13 children who've been arrested, 33, I beg your pardon, children who've been arrested. We have 12 schools that have been closed down. They've been presented in court. That is going to be on you for the rest of your life. Your parents are going to have to deal with that. Will you go back to school? There's a problem here, and if these concerns are not being addressed, and then the things are being destroyed, who are we putting into society? And that's what I said, we have to pray, because this one is not just about matches and fire. There's something in the back end that needs to be sorted out. Honestly, I do believe.
And you see, once these things happen, the school will of course need to repair the damaged property.
Yes, now
they will now shift that load to the parents.
Yes.
And the parents will now move to court. And the children are actually watching. They can do these things unabated because eventually they'll walk away from it. Remember that when these children are actually presented in court, they are minors.
Yes, they are. They are
What
minors.
charges are you preferring against them? What charges are you pressing against them? Will you nail them? Will you jail them? No. And so eventually, and you can remember that they say we cannot legislate morality. Even in the National Assembly, you cannot legislate morality. People are behaving badly, not just in schools. And so it's a system. You're right. National bad manners.